We are Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, and we're here in Dermott City Hall, 211 East Iowa Street, Dermott, Arkansas. We're here with Mayor Walter Jordan. I'm going to ask him to come and do the welcome. Mayor?
You want me to stand beside you?
Yes, sir.
Well, don't run off, because I ain't gonna have much to say.
Do you want the mic? Okay, I won't. I'll be right here.
You good. Good day to everybody.
Good day.
That's the way you address a day between morning and evening. So, good day to you. It's a pleasure and an honor for these people who are representing Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation to be people here in Dermott to give us some insight on things for which could help us. I appreciate them coming. I wish there were more people in the community that could be here, but I believe at this hour, majority of the people that are interested in this are working. My welcome extends out to all of those who are on this team today. And I say that may God give you traveling grace back to your destination.
All right, thank you, Mayor Jordan. Let's give her my hand for that welcome, warm welcome. So I am here to do the opening. And so again, I want to say good morning, everyone. And on behalf of our USDA partners that are not here yet, our local officials, agriculture leaders, and community stakeholders, it is my pleasure again to welcome each of you today with our workshop on opportunities in financing and resources through the USDA agency, including Farm Service Agency, Natural Resources Conservation Service, and Rural Development. So thank you for joining us here at Dermott City Hall. And your presence demonstrates a commitment to strengthening farms, families, and the future of agriculture in Southeast Arkansas. And today, it is about connecting producers, connecting landowners, connecting beginning farmers, ranchers, and rural entrepreneurs with the tool and resources available here today. Whether you are interested in farm ownership, loans, operating loans, conservation programs, disaster assistance, rural housing opportunities, business development programs, or technical assistance, USDA agencies offer a variety of programs designed to support agricultural operations of all sizes. So today, agriculture has always been the backbone of this region. Hard work, resilience, and innovation of our sustained communities across the Arkansas Delta. As agriculture evolves, access to information, financing, conservation practices, and rural development resources become increasingly important. Our goal here today is to ensure that you leave with better practical contacts and a better understanding of how USDA programs can help you meet your goals. So we encourage you to ask the questions, to share your experiences, and take advantage of the expertise presented here today. So, I just want to extend the welcome as our mayor has done. And again, welcome and thank you for investing your time and learning about the opportunities here available to support your agriculture operation and our rural communities. We hope today's workshop is informative, productive, and beneficial to everyone in this audience. So thank you, and let's have a great workshop. So next, we're gonna have Dr. King, our president of ALCDC workshop overview. He will go further with why you are here today.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Let me express my appreciation to all of you, for all of you who are both in person as well as those who are online. You know, as Mr. Williams informed you, our purpose of being here is to deal with connecting an individual with resources that's available, knowing about those resources, and then how to access those resources. With both the USDA agencies as well as other topic areas that we would talk about. Attorney Glover came in, and he's a part of our audience today. One of the areas that we always have as a part of the discussion during our meeting is dealing with air property. And for the most part, in all communities that we visit, we find that air property is an issue and something that has to be addressed and dealt with. It's also, that's across the board. It's not just in production agriculture, it's in housing. You'll find that a lot of cases in our rural communities, due to the out-migration of population, and in a lot of cases where individuals have all left and there are no individuals there to deal with taking care of the air property, maintaining it, or having any administrative authority, then it can become have a negative impact on local communities, both for other homeowners in dealing with depreciation of value in the surrounding areas, as well as an issue for the community and for cities. So air property, again, across the board, from an agricultural perspective, from a housing standpoint, and community economic development, how it impacts and how it has an adverse effect in our local communities and farming operation. So we'll have some discussion about that as it relates to the program areas that's available, both with USDA, Farm Service Agency, and Natural Resource Conservation Services, as well as rural development, because again, it goes across the board. It can be a barrier in accessing the resources from the various agencies that make those resources available to you. Now, I don't think Farm Service Agency is here, but I am going to ask those, particularly those who are online as well. Sometimes we have the large screens, we can see the questions that all come up. If you have questions, we will see those questions and we will address and respond to those questions accordingly. I don't know if I should go ahead with Farm Service Agency.
Yes.
Farm Service Agency not being here, and one of the things that we try to always prepare ourselves for is to make sure that we are aware of and working with the agency, that we are aware of their programs, how the programs work, and the process for accessing those programs. And the first one we have is the Farm Service Agency. Now, Farm Service Agency is actually one of the greatest resources that's available to our farmers in our rural communities. And when I say available to them as a resource agency, it's available to them as a resource agency in two ways, and because they have two different areas in how they operate. One is on their program side, their program servicing side. Under the program service side, they have the NAP program, which is the insurance, the risk management insurance for those who may be involved in or engaged in raising vegetable crops. And that's normally a no cost to individual farmers who are dealing with producing vegetable crops, horticultural crops, if they have fruit orchards, if they have pecan orchards and things of that nature. The Farm Service Agency offer that as a resource to individual producers. if you are engaged in farming operations, small-scale farming operation, and producing those type of crops. Again, it's risk management, and risk management is so important because whenever you're dealing with any type of business operation, you're talking about making an investment in that business on the front end. And so your investment, what the insurance does, it really mitigates, it reduces the risk that you have involved with your investment as far as your ability to recover, maybe not 100%, but recover your investment up to the point that it continues to make your operation feasible for operating. So that's the importance when you're starting to talk about crop insurance from a risk management perspective on the program side with USDA Farm Service Agency. But also, you know, we work with farmers on the program side in other areas as well, referring them to USDA Farm Service Agency whenever there is a disaster. So whenever there is a disaster and it comes down to certain program payments as a result of the disaster, and a number of those programs have been implemented, you know, over recent years. Everything from the COVID crisis that took place to other natural disasters that's occurred as well, to the disaster from the market, the lack of stability of the market and the downfall in the marketplace for the farmers' agricultural product. So they had the market subsidy payments, that's on the program side with Farm Service Agency. They also provided various assistance both from the market perspective and in other program areas as well on the Farm Service Agency. That was on the program side. Again, emergency assistance on one side, other payments for program support to producers of the farmers comes from Farm Service Agency on the program, how they provide program support services from a financial perspective. The other area, and I'm only going to give an example of that, you know, from the program benefits that's come out of Farm Service Agency and continue to come out. And I actually say this because, you know, when people are having certain experiences, then you should go directly to the Farm Service Agency out the USDA Service Center to look for the type of support, the support and resources that they have that could be beneficial for you. If you're talking about program payments, if you're talking about disaster payments, if you're talking about market support payments, as well as other areas. But again, that's coming from Farm Service Agency under USDA. Program services side. The other area that they have with farm services on the program services side, if you're a landowner, if you are a landowner and farm operator, is the Conservation Reserve Program. And basically, the Conservation Reserve Program, Farm Service Agency works in partnership with USDA Natural Resource Conservation Services in developing those conservation plans for what they call the CRP, Conservation Reserve Program. Some landowners have found it more feasible to put that land in the Conservation Reserve Program versus continuing to, particularly if it's marginal land, called marginal land from an agricultural production perspective, then they choose to put that land into the Conservation Reserve Program, and it may be up to 50, I think it's normally 15 years, is what they allow for now. And I don't know what the payment is on a per acre basis or what the average is when I say I don't know, because it varies depending upon the farm and soil types as well as other factors that they use as part of that formula to determine what the payment level would actually be if you decide to put your land into the Conservation Reserve Program. Again, on the program side, that's offered by USDA Farm Service Agency.
And each county has a different rate.
Right, and Ms. Williams was telling me, which is true, I left that out. Every county, the rate varies from one county to another county as far as what the payment is on a per acre basis if you choose to put it into the Conservation Reserve Program and it's accepted in. And that's along with, again, that's a partnership between Farm Service Agency and Natural Resource Conservation Services as that plan is developed and how it is implemented over the period of time. As far as the compliance period, and things that you're required for doing over that time period. If it's 10 years, 15 years, while you're participating in the program. So those, again, that's all of that as far as CRP as well as the other areas that I gave reference to is with Farm Service Agency Program Service Division. And the other area that they have, sometimes you have individuals or people may have land that has been idle for a period of time and you may not have a farm number. And they want to reactivate that land as an active or certified as a farming operation. There are also other, and coming back to that, on the Conservation Reserve Program side, the land must have been actively farmed. I think it's within the past 3 years. I think the three years is a factor. But anyway, there's a time factor that particular farm must have been operated as a farm in order to be eligible for the Conservation Reserve Program. And again, many individuals, some of those that we work with, they'll find that the income level under the Conservation Reserve Program was more beneficial for them, particularly when their estate sometime involved, was more beneficial for them than just doing cash rent out of their farming operation. So again, Conservation Reserve, the other program services that's offered too. And the farm number. Farm numbers are very important because in order for you to be a farmer now and to be certified as a farmer, it does not have to be 100 acres, it does not have to be 50 acres, it does not have to be 40 acres, 20 acres. You can have a half an acre, a fourth of an acre, or you can have a lot, just a lot in the city. And you can get that lot established as a farm and qualify for program benefits with USDA. And in order for you to get that lot of that land certified as a farm, you must have that farm number in order to do so. So getting it certified, getting a farm number through USDA, you have to go through Farm Service Agency. Once you have the farm number, then you're eligible for other program benefits that I'll come back to. That's back with their partner organization, which is Natural Resource Conservation Services. Well, they're here, so they'll actually talk about that. I won't come back to it either. So USDA Natural Resource Conservation Services will actually talk about that. And any questions that you would have as it relates to Natural Resource Conservation Services. So that is that's most of the program side that we're going to talk about as it relates to Farm Service Agency. Now, the other area you have with Farm Service Agency is the lending side, where they make, and put a little emphasis on that, the lending side. These are not program payments. On the program payment side, that's those are resources that you can receive, and there's no obligation to pay those monies back. So if it's market support payments, if it's disaster payments and things of that nature, then that's the financial system that's provided or made available to you from Farm Service Agency, and there's no obligation to pay that money back. But when you get to the loan side, the lending side with Farm Service Agency, and that's exactly what it is. It's a loan, and you have repayment responsibilities with that. Farm Service Agency has the direct loan, and it has the guarantee loan program. They have what is their regular loan program on the direct loan side, and then they have what they call the micro loan program that's available. On the micro loan, and it's not as complicated, it's not as difficult, and it can sometimes really fit for a small farmer that's just getting started as a beginning farmer that may not be engaged in operating very many acres. If it's a livestock operation, if it's a vegetable crop operation, an acre, 2 acres, or things of that nature, or again, even a lot. So you've gotten your land site established, have your farm number, and you need operating financing for what your enterprise, your farm enterprise is going to consist of, be it horticultural crops, it could be herbs and things of that nature. Again, it may be 20 acres or so, and you're going to be engaged in producing small scale operation with livestock. I know one particular individual, and we have him in the category as a urban farmer, and he deals with a livestock operation on roughly about 15 acres. And on that 15 acres, what he really does, he produces breeding stock. He produces breeding stock, and he's been doing very well at it. Understanding the top breeds in the marketplace and what they normally bring for his sale. In my last conversation with him, he said normally every calf that is born, be it female or male, that calf and how he markets it online is sold before the calf is born, because he deals with the pre-marketing process, and where he shows both the bull and the female that he's breeding to, which is very straight line breeds that he's breeding to, and he shows that. He deals with that through an online process and marketing. And then he has a whole list of people who may be interested in that particular breed, what he has, and what they may want to integrate into their farming operation. If it's either a bull or if it's a female for breeding purposes, to deal with integrating their herd. Again, small operation within the city limit areas, in this particular town, I'm not going to say where it is, but he does a great job at it, and he does a great marketing job at it. So again, it doesn't take, but he has a farm number, he receives the benefit of Natural Resource Conservation Services, program services, and he's been doing a very good job with his particular operation. So again, but that's how, as an example, the micro loan could be very, very beneficial with the individual either starting up or purchasing their actual stock that they're going to use for breeding stock. So to purchase, if it's 5, 6, 7, or 8, to start off the breeding operation along with the bull for the operation, then a microloan may fit very well into that, as well as covering costs for doing your fencing and things of that nature. Again, other resources can come into play that can add a lot more on to what I call the value base, that based on the program support type of services that's offered by Natural Resources Conservation Services. Again, that's the micro loan up to $50,000. Now, $50,000 for operating purposes. If you purchase equipment with that operating loan, you do not have to pay all of that back at the end of a year or at the end of an operating season. So if you have out of the $50,000 for an operating loan, if you're going to use $50,000, let's say $25,000 for operating expenses, and then another $25,000 for equipment. On the equipment, then that you have over a 7-year period of time to repay the $25,000 that is used for equipment purposes. Again, it's a 7-year period, so that's broken out, amortization process on that, along with what the interest rate might be for that particular portion of the loan. And then for the other $25,000, if it's strictly for operating purposes, if you're dealing with, again, row crop or horticulture crops, that for your operating expenses on your chemicals, on your labor, on your fuel, you may have other cost factors that could be involved with that. Then that $25,000 will be due for repayment at the end of that operating season of that particular part of that year, based on how the loan is scheduled out. That's the microloan. Then you have your regular direct loan program. Let me say this about the microloan, and say it's not as stringent as dealing with the regular loan program. It can also be very beneficial for individuals as beginning farmers. If you're just starting into a farming operation, one, less risk factors, not as much financing that's involved with it, as long as you're making sure you have a positive cash flow in developing those farm business plans. And we work with individuals on doing that, dealing with the feasibility of the type of operation that you want to do, in requesting the financing for your operation. So, okay, this is feasible, and this is how I have to manage my operation in order for me to make money from it, okay? Even with the small loan on the $50,000. But to get yourself, to deal with the foundation, establishing your foundation as a farmer and getting up to that 3 years experience as a farmer. Once you have the 3 years experience as a farmer, then it puts you into another category as it relates to financing. After 3 years of operating, then you can qualify for financing for capital investment for buying land. But you must have been farming for at least 3 years in order to be eligible to receive financing to purchase land. That's either for the microloan program or for the regular direct loan that I'm going to get to. And I missed the part on the microloan as I talked about the operating portions of financing for operating purposes. They also make available to individuals up to $50,000 for capital investment for land purchase as well. So after 3 years experience and individuals may have been operating, say 10 acres or 20 acres of land, and they say, I really want to have an option to buy, then you're eligible for the $50,000 capital investment for the financing to buy land. Now, of course, in most cases, the major thing is a matter of becoming eligible for the capital investment loan to buy land. So after 3 years, one may say, well, I want to be dealing with $50,000 because the amount of land I want to purchase is more than 5 acres and more than 10 acres. I want to purchase, 50 acres of land. So either way it goes, once that foundation is established with 3 years experience, then you're in a position to access the capital investment loan side with the USDA Farm Service Agency on the direct loan side. On the direct loan for a regular operation and as a beginning farmer, then you can get up to $400,000 in a direct loan for regular operating purposes. Say for an operating loan, same as I discussed, it relates to the microloan as an operating loan. The same thing would apply if you're dealing with the $400,000 operating loan. Some of that was going to go for equipment, and then the remaining balance was going to go for your regular operating purposes. It may be harvesting expenses, it may be, again, all your seeds, your chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, along with labor costs, fuel costs, as well as other categories, fertilizer, things of that nature. Your regular operating type of costs that you will find within the context of a farm business plan. Electrical costs, irrigation costs, all of those things come into play with your operating loan. So whenever you dealing with FSA, and you're saying an operating loan, a direct loan, or individuals that you know are trying to get into the business of farming, then that will be a good starting point with Farm Service Agency, the direct loan program, up to $400,000. I think we have already been in business of farming for the 3-year period of time, or less than 3 years, may have only been a year or 2 years, and they want to have access to more financing, dealing with expanding their operation. And so they need more operating capital, and then a direct loan, the $400,000 would be, that would be the resource to go to on the direct operating loan side with Farm Service Agency. Now, on the equipment, it's the same thing applies. 7 years, a 7-year period of time, amortization for repayment of your equipment, and the part that is on operating, you have to pay that at the end of the farming time schedule business plan that you may have set up and has been approved by USDA Farm Service Agency. On the other side, again, meeting the eligibility criteria with Farm Service Agency, 3 years being one, then you could qualify for a capital investment loan for purchasing land, and that's up to $600,000. So qualifying for it on the direct loan side, maximum amount on that capital investment side for land purchase, $600,000. So that means within your operation, the availability for capital resources for a farm business enterprise, meeting the criteria eligibility area for the capital investment side after 3 years, you could be talking about a total of $1 million that one may go into with the business plan for, say, land purchase along with the regular operating loan up to $400,000 and $600,000 for the guarantee loan.
Let's see, Dr. King.
Yes, sir.
You can, if you meet the qualifications, you can make loans up to $4,000, $400,000, up to $1 million if you satisfy those certain requirements.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can do 400,000 for an operating loan, 400,000 for an operating loan, and 600,000 for a capital loan for capital investment to do land purchase. So 600,000 on that side. Once you have that, you've met the eligibility threshold of 3 years experience in farming, as an actual farmer. So it could be a total of $1 million. Say at the end of your 3 years, you're current on everything and everything else has been paid off on your regular operating loan, you're going back in and I want to purchase land and it's going to be $500,000, $600,000 as well as money to deal with my operating expenses for the land I'm going to be purchasing, and maybe with some more that you're going to be leasing. So that could be up to $400,000 on the operating side for that farm business enterprise. And that's how it comes out to be the total. When I'm calculating that total $1 million, that's how we get to that number figure as far as availability is concerned. Now on the other side, and I'm not going to go into details on this. I say that there are 2 areas in how they make financing available. They also work with banks. They do a lot of work with banks. There's a lot of farming operation, and as you know now, the scale of operations now, it does not take long to go beyond that $400,000 operating expenses in running a farming operation. So FSA offers the guarantee loan program. Now with the guarantee loan program, the customer is the bank. And then you're the customer with the bank. So you're the customer with the bank, and you can go into financing and say, well, I want to get an operating loan, And, they said, well, we're really concerned about the security, so I wanted to apply for an operating loan, with a guarantee from USDA, Farm Service Agency. So you can apply to the bank, and the bank applies for the guarantee on that loan because it's exceeding that $400,000. And it's in excess of $1 million. I want to say 1.8 million or 1.8 up to $1.8 million on the guaranteed loan program side. That means that the bank itself, the bank says, okay, we're gonna make this loan to you. We got a cash flow on it for your operating purposes for this season. And we're going to make available to you, say, $1.5 million, $1.5 million for your farming operation. That's both for your equipment, for operating expenses, and things of that nature. And so let's say it's 1.5 million. If it's 1.5 million, and you're going to use $1 million for your operating costs, then of course the end of that time schedule, based on your farm business plan, the $1 million got to be paid at the end of that, based on that on that particular plan. And if you're going to put $500,000, just as I talked about the $50,000 and the regular direct loan, then if it's $500,000 that's going to go into equipment, then you do the amortization up to a 7-year period of time for repayment of the equipment purchase side for that 1.5 million that you may apply for and put into a farm business plan. So again, that's up to 1.8 million. I'm only using 1.5 as an example in dealing with, again, scale of operation itself, and the cost factors will depend upon the operation. And when I say the operation, not just the size of the operation, but it will depend upon the type of crop enterprise that you're going to be involved in producing. If it's going to be a combination of soybeans and corn and cotton and rice, only as an example, then it's going to cost more if you're producing rice than what it's going to cost you to produce soybean. And the same thing dealing with corn versus rice and if the cotton you're really talking about, a high operating expense, they'll be involved with that. So again, depending on the enterprise itself, on the farming operation enterprise, and the cost of that actual operation as far as operating expenses is concerned. Same thing would apply back to as far as the equipment itself. If you're dealing with a lot of diversity in the type of crop enterprise you're going to be producing, if it's going to be a combination, particularly if you're engaged in dealing with cotton production and then buying a cotton picker, I'm not going to even go there because of the cost of cotton pickers now.
Don't even worry about it.
Probably talking about close to $1 million just for one of those cotton pickers now. So I'm just gonna use soybeans, corn, and rice. So we're talking about a combine versus. Well, I don't know, combine is expensive now too.
About the same.
So it all gets to be farming operation. It gets to be very expensive to run a farming operation now. And again, we all depend upon our farmers. All of us depend upon our farmers. That is the source for our food supply in the South. I mean, your horticulture crop producers, and everything we do is individual in some form or fashion. The products that the farmers are producing are involved in our lives. I don't care if it's soy milk, if you're dealing with dairy, soybean producers, if you're talking about basically everything, you're going to either find soy something in it, you're talking about what they produce in rice, and what they produce in corn, the meal and everything else. So farming and agriculture impact all of our lives in some form or fashion, both from the farm production side of it to how they produce and conservation practices and all that they're engaged in. So, there's a question. Yes, there's a question online, right?
Dr. King,
Yes.
the farmers I deal with in my area, they dry land farmers.
Okay,
It's hard, they're hard. I mean, it's hard for them to get a crop in because this year the seeds have been so high. And the chemicals so high. So what opportunity
that's available, the financial resources that does not require repayment, along with those resources that may be in way of a loan. So if you're dealing with a conservation loan, again, you don't have to pay that back at the end of the year. You have it's amortized over the period of time. I think that's possibly up to 7 years also with the conservation loan, and put that in the farm plan. If you're not a farmer and you're just simply a landowner, again, those same resources are available. Or if it's estate itself, then you have to look at the feasibility based on the projected revenue or income coming off of that from rent where you are now with dry land on rent versus where your rent will go to once it becomes irrigated land. So you're not going to be talking about the same rent rate for irrigated versus non-irrigated. And then applying for the financing to establish irrigation on those farming operations, again, either as a landowner or as a farmer. And I say that as a landowner because whenever you're going to do that, if you're the operator, then both the operator and the landowner have to be all in agreement in what's going to be applied for to establish that as irrigated land versus non-irrigated land.
I got a question.
Yes.
James. I might be jumping a little bit in a different category, but it's all under farming. I've had a dream to do in the city of Dermott and in a lot of cities in the Delta. And what we experience is a lot of vacant house lots, home lots.
Right, I understand.
If it was made available, and if a person was to develop a plan, my question would be, who could help me develop this plan, work this plan out? And that plan would be where you would clean off all of these vacant house lots and teach the people in the community to farm these lots with vegetables, and it's going to create work ethics. It's going to create survival, producing for themselves. It can create them some kind of currency, income.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm working on a project right now, I'm trying to obtain a grant with a machine to mulch up these lots. And I about got it worked out. Now, when I clean the lots off, could somebody from your department get with me and say, okay, this is what I want to do? And we get together and work this plan out. And then put people at certain lots that they choose. Guide those people, teach those people how to raise produce, how to prepare for themselves, how to sell that produce, maybe during the market. I'd like to develop a strategy of that kind. And just say, for an example, every Saturday morning, those people would line up on this street over here and sell their vegetables.
Let me say two things in regard to that. A good friend of mine, he's a mayor also. He recently got approved a program similar to that. He has 50 individuals that's involved. And those 50 individuals are producing crops. They're actually producing vegetable crops in the city limit, and they fall in that category, what they call urban or micro farms.
Right.
That's one. So one, if it was me, I don't want to say if it was me, I would recommend it, because you all have far more insight, and that's why y'all are mayors, than I do from that perspective. But I would say that, I would, one, deal with the individuals, identify those to the greatest extent possible that would be interested in being a part of such a program and being producers. That's one, in being producers. And if they're interested in doing that, then I would have as a part of that agreement what you call sort of like a conditional commitment on that part. So based on these things that we're going to do, then you, and the benefits that's going to come out of this for you, then you're going to run this micro farm accordingly. And you're going to receive this other support that will enable you to do that, the micro loan. Yes, we would work with you from that. We could either be in person, we can do it online as well with the individuals and even the meeting. So they would have access to technical assistance to deal with accessing the financing. So with them getting that, that's a part of them being in agreement, with the city as a part of this plan within the context of that conditional commitment, okay? Now, along with that conditional commitment, then there will be other areas that would fall into play. And I won't go through all the possibilities, but you've got to have a partnership team. You would need to have farm service agency at the table. So here's what we're going to do. We got these many people, and we're going to do this on the basis of these type of conditional commitment. You're going to have natural resource conservation services. So you know the benefit of the program soil resources that will be made available to them on that micro farming operation from conservation, natural resource conservation period. Now, and I say the conditional commitment aspect of it because there are compliance requirements, okay? There are compliance requirements. So if you're going to access and you get the benefit of the resources that Natural Resource Conservation Services has to offer, then you have to have some commitment on the part of these individuals. They're going to do this operation for this period of time to meet the compliance period. That's why I'm recommending a conditional commitment on the part of those individuals who may be interested in doing that. Now, the other benefits outside of what the possibilities are as far as income is concerned for them, that would all be determined in developing and dealing with the farm business plan, so they can see that. So they will see that, they'll see the resources that's involved, they'll see the possibility of obligation of resources from a loan financing perspective. They can see the possibility of other resources on the program side with Natural Resource Conservation Service. So you're looking at real dollar figures here. You're looking at real dollar figures of the resource, and based on the real dollar figures you see, then we have to have this conditional commitment on this end. Now, the other benefits and outcome on that part would also be just local individual. a real strong and important thing right now, whenever you start to deal with both the economy and the economics of a local community, is local food supply. Local food supply affordability, but then local healthy food supply. So I mean, everyone's going to benefit. The one who's a part of the conditional commitment to deal with the production and the supply, but also your local citizens as well. When you're talking about a food desert, Dermott may be in a food desert area. So you're talking about addressing an issue that you have as a community. We know we're in a food desert. So one of our goals is to address this issue we have as a food desert, not having available healthy local food production. So you're going to address that. You're going to deal with local food supply on the part of the consumers themselves, and it's going to have an added economic impact. That's on the affordability side, an added economic impact based on the revenue and the benefits of those individuals who participate, because you're talking about entrepreneurship, a micro farm business enterprise. It's a business, to whatever level you say, it is a business, it's a business enterprise. So it's an overall economic development, agricultural economic development initiative that you're talking about. That's a very, pretty much, so I won't say positive, that is being done. And I don't know if you know Mayor Bryan and not out of Forest City, but we do.
Bryan?
Yeah, Larry Bryan. We can get you that phone number. One of the parts that we like to do is not just connecting to those other resources, but we also like to connect to where there are mentor possibilities. If it's city to city, if it's farmer to farmer, whichever. But he has a successful program, extension service. You have these other technical support resources available. Extension service would need to be at the table, because the whole science of dealing with agricultural production and practices and soil health, then you have extension service, should be at the table, along with all of the USDA agencies, particularly Farm Service Agency and Natural Resource Conservation Services as a whole. And you would be surprised of what it represents as far as dollar figure investments. If you have the commitment, again, you have a commitment on the part, conditional commitment on the part of those who are going to participate, and then the commitment on the part of the USDA agencies and extension services. And when you start to look at the dollar figure, even if you talked about a $50,000 operating loan for an individual that's going to be dealing with his farming operation, and then another $20,000 or $30,000, and this is just startup portions of it on conservation resources. You're talking about $80,000, right there on this particular just one enterprise. And when you do the multiple factor behind that on number of individuals, then the multiplying factor behind that times what the cash flow that shows up on each individual, give you some example of the type of economic impact from those individuals who are part of it, and revenue earned, not including the economic impact in dealing with the local food supply for the local community and addressing the issue around food desert. So possibility, yes, based on commitment itself, and it is being done already. So possibility here, and just as it has become a reality in other locations as well. So yes to your question. That's a long answer, but yes.
Yeah, but I understand what you were saying, all of the things that would be to an advantage and the things that I could seek more information from. But
yeah,
my biggest thing on that is trying to acquire the right information and the right
to possess the land.
right, and
Land.
yeah,
Who's
and
going
if,
Who's going to the land? The lots.
well,
City or the individual?
well, the question on that is that,
I got
If-
several lots, man.
well, what I'm saying,
I own them.
listen, if I clean them up,
You ain't got to clean your minds up.
well, I ain't got, well, you out of this then. If I clean up lots that have been grown up in the city for years, it would give the town an uplift. Let me just.
I'm solving a problem. Okay, with that problem being solved, these small towns don't generate enough monies to maintain those lots as they should be kept.
No.
What? Okay.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I went over to the city here recently to look at some property because the owner, who was out of state, they got notice that they were condemning the property and they were going to clean the property up, okay? Now, of course, you know, you have one of the best attorneys sitting beside you here in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah,
And I'm just gonna say that, convey with your attorney in regards to that, because what's gonna be very crucial to it is the legal process and to how it is done, okay? Knowing that if you deal with the legal process, and dealing with the cleanup and all the notification behind that, and then giving the city, and I'm definitely not offering, Judge, I'm not offering any legal advice here at all.
Well,
Okay, but I'm just saying, just in regards to that, it's imperative that you deal with the basis of title ownership. And I'm glad we have legal here to tell me if I'm right or wrong. But once you do that, give it a notification, and then what the fee is going to be for that, and then that's going to be a debt that is owed by that owner, based on what you dealt with on the property. And I'm thinking that would give the city then the right to deal with a judgment against the property, and then of course there would have to be actions on a foreclosure, non-payment or a foreclosure procedure on that. Am I right, Judge?
Yeah, I think you're right on the right trail.
Okay, I'm on the trail. Now, he just said I was right. He said I'm on the trail. That's why I say, don't hold me to it. But I'm just saying that there are certain risk factors involved. I would just suggest this, that you know you have total control of and ownership by the city, that would be my starting point. That would be my starting point as the model, and as you move forward in justification to deal with the rest.
Well, even if the city doesn't acquire ownership, I think with the right response from the property owners, after we do the cleanup or whatever, I think they would go along with it, you know.
But let me just caution you.
And give you a written lease or something to the ground just to keep it clean.
Okay, I'm gonna go back.
That just the territory now. Leasing?
Well, let me just say this. One is still yes, it's doable. Second is that if the city is gonna lease from the owner.
The individual that takes on that.
I understand, I understand.
Yeah.
But what we find in a lot of cases, this property is air property.
Yes.
And if it's air property, you got a more complicated situation.
Yes.
Now, why do I say that? I talked initially when we first started, say air property can be a barrier. And in this particular case, most cities, as I said, I started on the front end, I said one of the barriers and issues our communities have is on air property issues, and you find that. So if it is air property, it will be absolutely important and would have to be a priority that the individuals who are heirs, that somebody has the administrative responsibility on that property in order for them to be eligible for accessing the resources, the individuals going to be operating it, for them to access those other USDA resources I talked about. I said on the front end, this is the issue, air property thing we'll talk about, and there are ways that you can address that. If somebody been paying the taxes all the time and they got evidence that they've been paying taxes, and then they're going to offer the lease. In some cases, USDA have been more flexible and accepting that as a means that they are really the administrators and that can, from a legal perspective, execute such a lease with the operator. And I'm only giving an example. Now, and that may not be the case in all counties either, but it has worked in certain areas. But it's still a yes to your question, the possibility of it, it's still a yes. It's still a yes. Does it require a process in order to do that? Yes, it does. You still got to, it requires a process. Could it be very valuable to the community as a whole? Yes, it would be very valuable to the community as a whole. You mentioned economic impact. Would it have that? Yes, it could, and yes, it would, based on how the plan is developed and how it's executed. Will we work with you on that? Yes, we will, and I'm sure USDA would work with you as well from a partnership perspective. See, everything is yes.
Okay.
And my time is way over on farm service agencies. Way over. See, it would have been better if farm service agents had been here, then this would have been a lot shorter presentation.
For you.
More for them, because I wouldn't be up here.
Yeah.
You saw what I was telling you.
Yeah, on that guarantee loan, I said 1.8 million is 2.4 million on the guarantee loan with farm service.
Okay.
Okay.
So, thank you, Dr. King. I will really inform FSA about what an impeccable job you did. And let's give Dr. Hingham. So, we have lunch, and we're going to go on and take about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back, and we're going to let NRCS come forward, and I think Doc come back with rural development on housing opportunities. So let's go on and eat, and let's give Miss Stevenson. She wanted to cook desserts for us, and I just want to thank her for doing that. That was so sweet of her. All right, let's eat and come back to work. We have Natural Resources Conservation Services to come up
That's me now.
and start with them.
Why didn't the planning commission know about this meeting?
I tried to call some of them, but didn't know the answer.
I would have answered, I mean,
I really did. I tried to call.
All right, NRCS,
But sit down.
you ready?
Yeah, every section.
Not just the water, just the water. You can leave the phone.
Well, I mean, China bought 80% of your stuff. But now they're paying Powerball.
No, y'all good. It's okay.
Well, they buy steel producers.
We'll let Mike take all that home.
I think it's me. It's just here. It's not connected to anything to us.
Oh, okay.
It's down there where you can do the knobs, right down below.
What you looking for, the volume?
No, he was humming.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kennard Williams. I'm currently serving as the State Outreach Coordinator for the Natural Resource Conservation Service here in Arkansas. Me and Reginald Jackson is also State Outreach Coordinator as well. We both came down today. We'll talk about some of the USDA program that Natural Resource Conservation Service provide. A lot of times you hear me relate to NRCS. I'm talking about Natural Resource Conservation Service, the same thing. What we do, what our job, and what we do, and how we were established, it was because of Dust Bowl. We lost all our topsoil and flew and went over to the ocean, so erosion control is where it started. And then 95 it transitioned over to Natural Resource Conservation Service, and that was to address all the resource concern, which is our soil and our water, our plants, our animals. So now we look at the whole scope of our natural resources as one. The programs, a lot of our programs that we have try to address resource concerns. I know I heard a couple of gentlemen today was talking about concerns about different problems they were having in the community that may be addressed through EQIP. EQIP is Environmental Quality Incentive Program. And what it does is help farmers to address those resource concerns. Resource concerns is only problems that you're trying to address. And we try to address those through conservation practices. So that's where NRCS started and came about before we even started doing any program of handing out money and funding towards CTA, Conservation Technical Assistance. And that was just to go out to help the farmers to address those concerns on the ground through conservation practices. EQIP is one of our larger programs to address a lot of those concerns. I will talk about conservation stewardship program, which is CSP. That's a program also address resource concerns, but it kind of enhanced from where you come off of EQIP. The eligibility, I know Dr. King talked about earlier, the eligibility, y'all need to get you need to get a farm number and tract number, and you do that process through FSA. I think a lot of problems and issues that you're talking about, Mayor, could be addressed by them getting the farm number and tract number. Because when you get the farm number and tract number, that's going to make sure ownership, that's going to tell you what ownership, who owner, or lease, because you can't do lease.
Yeah.
5-year lease would take care of a lot of our programs.
Yes.
So you don't actually have to own the property to be able to participate in the program.
That's right.
So when they start with FSA and getting that farm number and tract number, that's gonna take care of a lot of your problems that you was talking about on those empty lots and things like that.
Right.
Because they can actually do that under these programs, and we can help you implement a lot of that.
So each lot that I participate in, if I participate in what I'm trying to do, would have to obtain a farm number.
Farm number and tract number, yeah, they'll assign you a farm number and tract number, and
Right.
what that biggest thing with that, on the back table, you'll see a sheet like this, a pamphlet like this, and it says establishing eligibility for USDA program. And it'll tell you step by step which forms you need, which forms are available. You will have to do a 1026, which is a highly enrollable determination. A 941 is the adjusted gross income, AGI. And that's, you make less than 900,000 a year, and that's adjusted gross. That's after you take off all your expenses.
Okay.
901, 902, and the 2047 is where you're actually getting established in the system. Which FSA will take care of all that once you get there. And that ownership, and show that ownership or control of the land. But we'll get out into the program for EQIP programs, and I know the gentleman asked a question about the dry land. All right. Our EQIP program can actually help you with some of that. We do have a couple programs within the program of EQIP. So we have a small farm operation, and that take care of a lot of the things that the mayor was talking about, the lies going into vegetable production. You can do micro irrigation systems, you can do mulching, you can do cover crops. Now on the farm part of it, when you start looking at the bigger farm operation like you're talking about to address the dry land, let me go back and address a little bit on the small operation. The small operation, you can apply for a well as well, but you have to have irrigation history. That's the only key thing about that. Now, irrigation history could be, I may be a little bit younger, but I can remember the time my grandmama, she made me take a bucket of water and we put a pail of water in each one of them plants. That's irrigation, and that may not be your traditional irrigation that you think of irrigation,
Right.
but that's what we did
Back in the day.
back in the day.
Okay, now let's move up to this day now.
Okay, let's move up to this day.
And now you talk about irrigation,
Mm-hmm.
you talk about dry land. I'm a dry land specialist, brother.
Okay.
I dry land for 40 years.
Okay.
Right in this area here.
Right.
You got to hustle. You got to hustle. But now, water is hard to come by in this area right now. We're having a good time now.
Okay.
But July and August ain't made it here.
Right.
That's when hell hit, brother.
Okay. Well, let me tell you how some of the programs can address that, because we have a program for under EQIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program. They just pushed out a new initiative this year for RPP, which is Regenerative Ag pilot program.
Okay.
And they looking at focusing on soil health. Now, a lot of those practices is also have a bulletin on that. I'll give you a copy of it as well. You're gonna have some core practices in there, and that's gonna be your crop rotation. Now, country farming, we probably don't do a lot in this area, but we do, because this program will cover the whole United States. So some of the practices that shows up on here may not address what you need.
Okay.
Now, crop rotation is one that I'm talking about. I'm gonna go specifically to your operation since you asked a specific question. You look at crop rotation, cover crop, nutrient management, pest management. You won't have irrigation. Let me tell you what, you don't have irrigation, so you won't do irrigation water management. But you can do a residue management as well. And it can be a minimum till or no till. Keeping residue on the ground keeps your moisture in the ground.
Right.
Those are different practices that actually we provide and we'll pay you to do. No-till is another option when you start talking about dry land. Dry land, think about it. If you got that ground covered, even when it's dry, if the sun not hitting it directly, that means it's cooler. You got some moisture down there, and then that sun's not hitting it directly. When it gets 95, 96 degrees, what they talking about next week, 97 degrees,
Yeah.
and you got that cover, you got that crop growing, you have that cover, and it's not hitting that soil, you're gonna hold your moisture. So those are different practices that we actually cost share on through NRCS that will help you do that, and we'll show you how to help you do that and manage that as well.
Would you be able to help us, the farmers we got in this area that dry land, to help them? Now, I've been out of farming a pretty good while.
Right.
I hustled long enough. My wife told me, say, you don't hustle enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it got to my point where I owe nobody,
Right. Yes, sir.
I owe no diesel, no seeds, no chemical,
Right.
no equipment, my wife told me shut it down.
Okay.
I've been mowing yards ever since.
All right.
You got to play in the dirt. Somehow, somewhere, you got to play in the dirt.
No, that's right.
But the dry land farmers,
Love the
they
dirt.
can't survive, they can't make it, but they do need to implement some of these conservation practices. Because
Yeah.
dry land is drought and trying to, that's a resource concern issue, a resource, which is a problem,
Yeah.
but we call it a resource concern. So those are issues that we're trying to help you address.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And the most important thing, this is something else. These services don't cost you anything. Now, this is the other most important thing. Even if you don't get in the program for EQIP, CSP, we always provide CTA, which is conservation technical assistant. We start with developing your conservation plan.
Okay.
That's where your roadmap. They're gonna go back and say, okay, he said we need to do this, we need to do this, do this. If you get funding or not, it's good to start there with the basic. That's your basic. And then your CSP, I'm gonna give you an example of CSP. Say if you do a soil test is gonna give you basic nutrients of what you may need. Well, CSP, you can come in and say, well, I want to enhance that. I want to take tissue analysis. It may tell you, okay, you need your boron, your magnesium, your iron, you may need this additional stuff based on that plant tissue. That's what the CSP program will do.
Okay.
But the first basic stuff, you need to make sure you got your conservation plan in hand. And that's to try to address all the problems that you have. And it's always good to have a field visit, because it's hard to say what you have. You know what you want, but we may come out and look and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about this, addressing this issue to take care of this issue? So that's purpose of the office, to help you. And technician, we have engineers on staff, technicians, soil cons, and DCs there on staff to help you.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all have moved up a little bit.
Well, we're trying, but our job is trying to help the farmers. We got to help our farmers, because right now, we know everything is tough.
Yeah.
I
So-
guess dry land is harder with acres, because growing up, I never been a farmer, and I'm not a farming specialist as such as Mr. Stevens, but growing up, my grandfather would plant a garden. He would make us wake up at 5 in the morning, get the garden hose and water each row.
Right.
And then at night, even though we had to fight mosquito bears, we watered each row. So I guess what I'm saying is the comparison from dry land to wet land, he was saying that it was harder with dry land, I guess because of the acres, not just a small garden.
Well, actually, he's talking about the dry land don't have availability to the water
Right.
when it's needed. Like in July and August when it's dry, we're not getting these rains that we
Yeah,
get
that's what
right
I'm
now.
saying, but I'm saying, I guess it's gotta be on a bigger scale than just a regular garden. Because like I say, in the morning we water, in the evening we water.
Well, that's true too. But think about it. Some of our gardens don't have irrigation on. Because if they do some of these city lots, unless you get up to city water, may not have it. But that's where mulching, because when you do mulching, you can either use the black plastic or you can use the straw. And what that does, I actually saw one young lady up in Blackson County, she actually used newspaper.
Cover
Yeah.
bed.
She covered that bed with that paper and then hold that water.
That's what I.
And you can turn around and run 2 weeks
Yep.
longer just on
Cover
that
bed.
cover
Yeah.
when it's just open compared to just being wide open.
Yeah.
And you have more. And then,
More.
and then the other thing is deep.
Wow.
It's so much deeper.
Yeah.
Because and it don't run off. It just sit there and then it sit there and hold.
And it spreads.
Yeah, I use it for my flower beds. I use it.
Yeah. So that's the whole concept. But like your bigger scale, larger scale is being your cover crops. Like I was telling you about the cover crops. And the reason I said cover crops, you can turn around, you can put that cover on, and you go and spread to kill that cover in February, March, and then you go plant into that cover.
Yeah.
Now I know you also mentioned that the seeds are high, fertilized high. Well, based on your cover crops, you also plant some of your cover crops that have some nitrogen in it. So that nitrogen would break down and actually used for that plant. So we also have people that can tell you, say, hey, what crop you planting, which one's gonna need more nitrogen, which one needs, and then that with that based on that cover crop, it can help you with your nutrients.
Okay, something stepped over my head.
Okay, go ahead.
The farmers, the big farmers, I ride and look a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got bad eyesight and everything.
Yes, sir.
But now they put a plant out there now, after they get through the crop, they cut the crop.
Right.
They put a plant out there, to like green. So my farmers run out there, snatch some of that, brought them to town, we gonna eat some green. I said, this ain't no green, man. Is that a cover crop? What's the name of it?
That's cover crop.
That's cover.
That's cover crop. Yes, sir.
Is that calling the farmer in the money?
Well, a lot of times they're doing that. They're doing using our programs to do that, and that we help cover the expense.
Okay.
But a lot of times, when the program run out,
Yeah.
they're gonna continue to do it because they see the benefit of it. And when they kill that cover crop, yeah, them green, most times it's probably triple kaolin or something like that. That
And
they
that's just putting nitrogen back in the soil.
put nitrogen. If you do any of the
Well,
tillage
Walter
British.
talking good game, but yet still he farmed down there too now, back in the day.
Well,
Yeah, but
no.
But I'm talking about now.
now, right
Our
now.
farmers, our little small farmers in this area, we in trouble.
Let me,
We got soybeans about like this here now, man. Just coming up.
Let me tell you another good thing about cover crop, which is I've experienced it personally. One thing about cover crops, you got that cover on the ground, you can actually get on that ground quicker and sooner, even when it's wetter.
Yeah.
Because that tractor won't sink or the equipment won't sink, it'll sit on top of that cover crop, and you can go across it. And so guess what? You got all that moisture, and you got that plant to be able to has a fighting chance to get up and get of size before you lose all your moisture, before your moisture go away, or before your rain's cut down. In the spring, you have a little bit more rain. Yes, sir.
you know, so yeah, I want to make, I know you're talking about dry land. Now, equip, can you still put irrigation wells in?
It has to be, it has that irrigation history. And what I'm saying about that is, yes and no. If you don't have the history, you cannot. But if you have the history on part of it, you can.
Well, question.
Now I tell you one thing, hold on, I tell you one other thing now. Dr. King brought up a good, hold on. Dr. King brought up a good program. He brought up the conservation program for the loan, where you may have to go and borrow the money and put your well in, but you don't have to put your pipeline in. You don't have to put all your other irrigation practices in. You don't have to do your land level, you have to do all that. Then once you got that irrigation history, then you can come sign up for all the other practices that you may need. Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to be.
No, go ahead.
I'm looking out for my other farmers, man.
Yes, sir.
And I feel them. How can we have an irrigation history and we ain't got no water?
But here's the problem.
They just explain.
The
Wait a
gentleman
minute, wait a minute, y'all talking over my head now. I'm talking about farms in the streets, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Just
talking
ride
about.
these 4840s out here. They ain't got no air conditioning in them.
I understand, but here's what I'm saying. I think two things, and listen very closely to what he said. He said, if you have irrigation history on some of the land, then you could qualify, okay? Now, let me finish the point. Then the gentleman over here made the point, he said, well, no, we had a garden on some of the land, and we used water and a water hose to irrigate the crop. Now, listen to him very closely. One, the state of a fact that he just made is that, well, yeah, we have some irrigation history on some of the land, okay? Because we were raising vegetables on, although he used a water hose. But this is a 40-acre farm, or whichever, okay? No, he doesn't use it, but he has irrigation history on some of the land, which qualifies him then on irrigation history for the EQIP for the 90% cost share. So what I'm saying, make sure you listen very closely to what's being said and how it's being said. For one, and not a need for it, because one, not a need we hear very clearly. We hear the need very clearly. But I'm saying is that most of us, when I was coming up, we did the same thing. We would go out and we were putting in sweet potato plants, and we were putting in cabbage plants, things like that. We would have buckets of water
And different
right, and we would put water
at each plant.
on those plants and putting those plants out, okay? We were pre-irrigating those plants. That's irrigation history. So the point of the question, do you have irrigation history? Yes, you do.
I don't.
No, well, I'm just saying, most.
Some people do, everybody may not have it.
No, I'm saying everybody
Everybody may not have it.
But a lot of what I'm saying, the point is that make sure you understand when they say irrigation history, so you don't tell folks, no, you don't qualify, you don't have irrigation history. But let folks know, if you have done any of these things on your farm as it relates to dealing with plants, and putting plants out, then you have an irrigation history.
Okay, Dr. Ed. My man.
Yes, sir.
Let me kind of get the stuff together here, cause I'm on laws, and I know my homeboys out there laws. I want to see them try to at least make 12 bushels per acre on soybeans, dry land. Okay. My grandpa started me out with a mule.
Okay.
And he told me to my face, he said, when you get close to 12 o'clock, he said, boy, you unhook that mule and it come to the barn. I was gonna work my hour over one day. He tore up a whole row of cotton. I got my vine whooped. But what the problem I'm trying to say is, we don't want these young people to lose sight on farming because we're very thin. Back in the day, Calvin tell you, we used to come down here, man, we had 15, 20, 30 farmers up in here. We hardly got 3 farms in this town. That's all over the state of Arkansas. I see Calvin, I was watching the picture of yours, that me and over your part of cultivating corn and rice. I saw in your part of the country, Calvin, man, it's bootlegging on it, selling liquor now and there. He developed it himself, you understand? We got it for sale. Okay, we ain't got that kind of, we dry landing down here, man.
Okay, let me say this. Let me
That was you?
Let me just let you know now. First of all, that is not bootleg, that's distillery. That's distillery.
Yeah, I understand that.
Wait.
But that's bootlegging my own town.
No, see, this is a legitimate business. Not only that, they got some of the best bourbon and best vodka that you get. And wait, listen now before you talk to us.
They ain't sticking by it.
And that's
You got to buy it. This him,
What man
this him. You gotta come get it.
No, the man told me I'm over there. He said,
So
hold on.
they have a
He said, I'm gonna bring you a fifth.
a distillery.
You're done.
Okay,
You gonna send it to me?
Yeah, they do. They have
In the mail.
Yeah.
They have a distillery called Dermott
That's his brother.
in eastern Arkansas, in Phillips County, and it is called a distillery, which he read. Now he read about this in our newspaper.
Sweet not me.
I don't do a lot of reading.
It's a distillery,
Can't read that good like brother.
and they produce bourbon, vodka, and gin.
Yeah.
And they produce it from sweet potatoes.
Yeah, so
They're the fourth generation. Am I right? Fourth generation
Yes, sir.
farm.
Yeah.
They're the fourth generation of farmers and landowners. Mr. Williams' family is. His brother has engineering
It's
background.
over 130.
Is what his engineering background was in, and he came back home. They took over the farm operation. They were
Sure,
basically
that's
producing-
definitely look true.
Well, yeah, it was a that.
Yeah.
But it's not, but it says,
Houses.
no, but when it says distillery,
Don't do that.
I mean, it's a,
Bootleg.
no. It's a,
But let me finish up and wrap up and help him on his part. Okay.
okay.
Biggest thing is on dry land.
Okay.
The best thing to do for dry land, for dry land farmers, is implement some conservation practices,
Okay.
which would be your cover crops, your residue management.
Can you help them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that's what you do. You use some of
I'm
those.
moving you what?
That's your problem.
Don't
And the
make them get on that bootleg.
your root cause of resource concern. You worried about irrigation
Right,
because you don't have irrigation. You on dry land.
right.
So some of these conservation practices, and we're talking about this new program, regenerative pilot program.
Yes, sir.
What that does is make your soil healthy. If your soil healthy, you're gonna produce more than 10 bushels, 12 bushels per acre anyway. And doing part of that is gonna be your cover crop. Like you say, when you cut them green, you thought they was green.
Yeah.
Those are cover crops.
Yeah.
They doing that to improve the soil
Yeah.
because you're going to improve your NP&K and then your microorganisms,
Okay.
things like that in the soil.
Okay.
And then the cover crop has multiple other benefits as well. You can also get in the field earlier. You're gonna always retain more water. So that's gonna put you ahead of the game getting in.
All right.
It's also gonna provide you some nitrogen. Or different nutrients, which will cut down on your fertilizer bill as well. But you have to do your soil testing to know what to do and how much to use, how much not to use.
Correct.
And part of that program, RPP program, is that you have to take the soil test at the beginning and the soil test at the end, so you can know the difference
Okay.
of how it has improved from one point to the other point.
She did all my soil testing.
Yeah, so that's what's key, because as you continue to till, you beat it to death, like any other living organism. You continue to beat it, eventually it's gonna wear it out.
Get thin.
So the same concept in growing soybeans, corn, crops, any of your crops, you still need those microorganisms, and that's what these conservation plans are plan plus the practices will actually help you on dry land.
Would you think it'd be the possibility between you and Kevin that these dry land farmers one day be able to have corn or rice? They rotate, you understand? They don't have room to rotate.
Well, let me just say this. One, from the business enterprise perspective, two things you make sure we're getting in this. One is a cover crop and a conservation plan, and they provide financial. The minimum payment with the CSP is $4,000 a year, even with these lots you're talking about. So the minimum payment, if they are practicing and being a part of with the CSP conservation steward, and you can do the EQIP and conservation steward at the same time now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you were doing what he's talking about with the lots, and people who are gonna start and beginning farming with that, the minimum payment with the CSP practice being involved is $4,000. You can also put a house up on those lots, so you produce vegetables practically year round. The other part, what Mr. Williams was giving reference to, along with the CSP program, I guess the maximum, you're talking about cover. Say, can you help them? Yeah, you can help them if you sign up for the program, because the maximum payment is what, 200,000 on the contract now per farm?
That's on CSP, 450,000 on equipment.
No, that's even better. That's $650,000 altogether. So I guess what I'm saying is that we're talking about the practice and then talk about the resources that matches with that to come from NRCS. Okay, so you're talking about $450,000 on the EQIP program and certain practices that's a part of that. If you're dealing with conservation project in your plan, and they write those plans up to the dollar amount. And then $200,000 with the CSP putting those cover crops in. And some of the practices that are equally beneficial can be put into the plan under the EQIP versus having it all up under the CSP, because you can't duplicate.
One thing, the difference between the two, CSP, they look at the whole farm operation.
Right.
EQIP, You can do it farm by farm or track by track. It don't have to be that whole operation. So that's.
But I'm not trying to be the
No,
whole
no, no,
time.
no, 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 no,
All
no.
I'm trying to do is get an understanding.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be rude or anything to you, you understand? But
Haven't offended me at all.
help, man.
Yeah, you haven't offended me at all. But the local office, if you get that sheet on the back table, it also have our local office number in there. Call that local office so you can get your farm number, track number, and start getting your conservation plan set up. And then if you ever have any questions for me, I give you my number. You can call me, and I cover the whole state. And Dr. King can always give you my number.
Well, I'm talking about they hit harder than mine, man.
Well,
So I got to talk to them first this evening.
well, that's the reason why they need to come to
Between
these
the
meetings.
blood nights and stuff like that.
Yeah, get them to these meetings because.
They got the road right now, man.
Well, it's wet right now. It looks like it's wet right now,
It ain't
though.
wet, man.
Oh, really?
Not
down here?
I was looking at some of it and, you know,
It's raining in spots.
Yeah. Where it's dry.
And then harsh rain runs off and gentle rain soak in.
Hey, that's the other thing. That's the other good thing about cover crops. No roots in the ground will make that water go down and it's gonna hold that water.
Yeah.
Compared to dissing it up and it's gonna run straight off. That's, we also do a demonstration where it shows when you have cover and no cover. You usually have chocolate milk, and then the ones that have roots in them, it's clear water coming through, penetrating, going through the soil. So those are some. A lot of it on dry land is just changing the conservation, just changing your practice. The farming practice will help a lot.
Tell your brother I need to come.
He gonna tell he make sure you.
No,
you make sure you let
your
him.
brother now.
Well, he probably gave you a phone number, so you call him. You know.
So, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Dr. King and you probably can verify.
No, we just.
Let's say for an example, I'm using him for an example and myself. If, even though I farm 50% of my life, if I took notion to go back into farming, now, do I have to do this 3 years again? What I'm saying?
For irrigation.
No,
For
for,
it's for 3 years before you qualify
Right.
for the financing on that.
yeah,
No, because you already have, you have a history and you certified and dealt with your operation for more than 3 years. That would still be a part of record.
I think just having a number, right? Just having a form number would be.
well, I had some of my old farm numbers and where I had certified my farms. But when I went to the ALCDC office to verify them, they had no records of such, of me even farming.
Okay, it would happen, Calvin. Here's what happened. When he was farming, they switched it over. Okay, you say a farm number 1099, they changed it over.
Change the farm
They
number,
changed the farm number, Calvin.
but my name still should have been in
And they
the,
changed his name too,
Well,
in Nick Village. You
well,
understand what I'm trying to tell you, don't you?
well, one, you was the wrong agency. If you're looking for one, you were certified. Now, if you're dealing with certification of the farm, then the certification of your farm number itself, your farm number, they can issue a farm number.
correct?
Okay, they can issue a farm number. That's what is now FSA. They can issue a farm number. 2, that's on one side. But 2, on that other side, they also should have farm numbers that go back.
Correct, that's what I,
So all those farm numbers should still be a part of record, the farm number. Now, that is the farm numbers they would have, not necessarily having your name because you operated the farm, but simply the farm numbers. Now, the fact that you certified, so you'll have a history of certifying your crop, then that whole history, you should be able to access that history and show in time period where you certified your crop. So I certified my crop in this year. They should be able to go inside the system as well, but that's what FSA Farm Services.
Yeah, I'm listening and I'm getting as much as I can because they're
Somebody online?
Yes.
I didn't think she wanted.
She wanted to say something?
Excuse me, ma'am, did you have a question?
Hello? I think she was online, she was trying to.
Yeah.
No, that's what I told you, I said, you can get it.
So we about to get to the, I'm sorry, we about to get to the housing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. We can talk on this later.
I got stuff for you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You made our day.
You're gonna expound
I'll
a
be
little
in my
bit
whiskey.
on
Yeah.
housing, she's
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure we'll hold your name down.
Okay, we're now going to the USDA, rural development area, and we're gonna be focusing basically on housing and community economic development resources. And when I say community economic development resources, both on the grant side and on the loan side, financing for municipalities, small towns, for water sewer systems, both grant and loan programs that they carry for that on USDA rural development. They also have the grant loan program, for community facilities as well. So if it's everything from a healthcare center to a community center, things of that nature that you're working with a municipality on, then those resources are available through USDA rural development. In addition to infrastructure, community facilities, fire protection, they also finance the fire protection. They have a fire protection program. If it's for a fire truck, a fire station, or maybe even improvements on a fire station renovation. That's the resource and where you get both loan and grant money for with community facilities. And where most rural towns have been able to get the dollars for to deal with fire protection, expanding water sewer system. Cities who do that need to improve, upgrade their infrastructure from a city perspective. The housing program, USDA rural development, they have two sides. They have the lending side and they have the loan guarantee side. They have the 504 and they have the 502 program. The 504 is a grant and loan program for rehab. You can do up to $10,000 for housing rehab on a grant program. And you can do up to $40,000 on the loan side, 1% interest rate on loan for dealing with rehabilitation with housing. And that's for individuals. For individuals and dealing with home improvement on the 504. You have the 502 program for housing new construction. And I'm thinking that the maximum loan amount for the 502 program now is roughly $377,000 in what they call affordable housing program. Now they have subsidies and interest subsidies that go in with that creates the affordability for dealing with the payments. That's one. I said up to $377,000. That does not necessarily mean that an individual applying for a housing loan, and it's not a renovation loan, that they would qualify for $377,000. They may only qualify for $110,000. Again, an example. I had one client I was working with, and she was consistently talking about, well, I want to build a house, I want to build a house. Well, what she had pre-qualified for and gotten approved for was rural development. And what we advised her is to look at the marketplace of what may possibly be available for sale in the local area. She was able to purchase a house and had money, a sufficient amount of money based on what she had been approved for, to do what she wanted to do with that house, having new flooring put in and redoing some other things. She wanted to put another roof on it. She said, well, the roof is okay, she wanted a new roof on it. So she was able to both buy the house and improve that particular house based on what she qualified for in the loan amount under the 502 program. Again, that's the 502, they say for new construction or purchasing existing property with the 502. And again, they have subsidies built into that on the interest rate to create an affordable payment for individuals. Now, there are eligibility requirements income-wise on both the 504 and on the 502 program with the housing side of it. Now, they also have at the state level with Arkansas Development Finance Program, they have a first-time home buyers program. Now, the detail of exactly how that program is being implemented now, I'm not sure, but I would just suggest that individuals call or contact Arkansas Development Finance Authority, or you can Google and put it up online to look for their first-time home buyers program. First-time home buyers program. And there are particular benefits, in that as far as, covering closing costs and things of that nature with the financing and how they make that financing available. In addition to the infrastructure for municipalities, community facilities, the housing program, rural development also have a loan and grant program for business enterprises as well. Now, the maximum dollar amount, I'm not sure about the total of the maximum dollar amount on that. I know on the type of enterprises, that they have built, either for a business expansion, that you can get financing for business expansions, and it's based on number of jobs and economic impact that it will have in a particular local area, both the loan program side and the grant program side, and I think it's the Rural Business Enterprise. It used to be called the Rural Business Enterprise Program with USDA rural development. So, yes.
What about rental properties?
On rental property, they have that also. And they basically, and I would say contact the state office. That most of those are actually financed out of the national pool, but that's called the 515 program. Now, under the 515, which is for multi-family affordable housing, we've done some of those before. We have done the 515 with layered financing, and when I say layered financing, the ones that we did involved both rural development being the primary financing base under the 515, and then we did Arkansas Development Finance Authority to get tax credits to create some equity, for us with that particular development. And you can do it and include long-term financing coming from banks as well. So that there are a lot of ways to do the multifamily in a local community, and particularly if you have a nonprofit. And I'm only going to give you, I'm giving another example of that. Having your partnership team together, just like I said with USDA Rural Development. Partnership team meaning, you got to have some very good contractors and a good architectural engineer to work with you in the process of developing your plan. You should be having some communication and a relationship with a banker. So you have your banking partner as well. And then you have USDA Rural Development. If you want to put together a good layered financing deal, and this is only an example, a good layered financing deal to do affordable housing in your local community, and we're saying rental housing. On the banker side, now they have an affordable housing program where you can get grant financing through the bank. Did y'all know that? Yeah, through the bank. Now, the affordable housing financing through the bank comes from Federal Home Loan Bank, of which the bank is a member of, Federal Home Loan Bank. Now, that means that the bank had to submit the application for that grant, and say you're applying for the affordable housing grant program to make this a feasible project, okay? And you're applying for that through your bank, who's a partner with you, and submitting that application in to get some of the grant money. And then on the other hand, you may have a portion of that financing that's going to be coming from USDA Rural Development out of the 515 program, which is a loan. Okay, so that's the loan side of it. And then you have, again, Arkansas Development Finance Authority as a partner, that's the state agency, to put in what they call some home financing. And that's a loan as well. But you have layered financing, and with both the state, the federal, and then the private sector with the bank, with the affordable housing grant program. But that's only an example as to how deals can be done. We have done, such partnership deals with the 515, along with the state and long-term financing as well. So I'm only giving that as an example. Yes, sir.
Kevin, is that the same way the lady down in Texas that's in the magazine that's raising beef down there, that came from New York and took over her daddy's operation? And the Secretary of Agriculture right now is from the same state. They prepared her some money and everything. She was trying to produce beef to sell in the market.
Well,
She went through the bank and USDA at the same time.
Well, you can always do that. When I say, now that's on the farm side. I moved from the farm over to the housing community economic development.
Yeah, but
But if you're talking about a combination of financing for even an agricultural business enterprise, you can do that. I mean, you could do a combination of direct financing loan with that type of business enterprise. But she was producing for a special breeding market, that she went to a special market. And she may have part of that being into a loan guarantee.
yes,
And depending on how you're running, she may have run the operating loan as a direct loan from USDA Farm Service Agency. And then she may have gone in to get the $2.4 million as an example of something, not maybe that much, but some for the expansion of what she was dealing with land acquisition to expand her herd capabilities, as I understood it.
Yeah.
So you're expanding the herd capabilities, buying more land to expand the herd on the capital side with a guaranteed loan, and a combination of a direct loan for operating, or you can do a combination of a direct operating loan up to the $400,000, and then a portion of that being a loan guarantee for operating loan purposes to get the maximum financing that's necessary. So it's $1 million necessary for operating. Get $600,000 in operating on the guarantee and $400,000 in operating from the direct loan, and you have the necessary security based on the guarantee itself, along with other security that she would have from land assets, as well as the investment she had with her breeding stock as security as well.
So you know about the article, huh?
That was in the minority farm program, yes.
I read that too. My question is, which you sparked a few minutes ago in some of these loans, is concerning residents here in the town. Are there any assistance to help them revamp their homes?
Yes, to answer your question.
Because I've had people to come up to my office and ask me if the city had any services that would help them fix their homes back up.
502s and 504
Is that-
programs.
Yeah, I know you gave 515 at the bottom, 502. 504.
Yes.
Right, that's under the 504.
But now isn't 504 acquiring a loan?
A 504 is both. A 504 is both a grant and a loan. You can get up to $10,000 in grant, and then up to $40,000 in loan at 1% interest rate. And, you know, normally in most cases, you will probably be able to show you have the necessary security there with a $40,000 loan, and say they built a house, it's been there for a period of time, they may not owe anything on it at all. So to go ahead and get a $40,000, it doesn't, when you really do a CNA on property, a capital needs assessment on the property, when you really look at that, you're going to dealing with roof, heating and air. They may have flooring issues and things of that nature, or possibly either, you know, other particular issues with foundation and stuff like that. You can quickly, you know, 40,000 is not a lot of money.
No.
Based on costs now in dealing with construction. It gets very expensive.
And what you run into in the Delta, in this deprived area, where that an individual is gonna think twice when you say, well, go get a loan. Well, my credit ain't good enough. Okay, well, still apply for a loan. Well, I can't afford to pay the loan. If I could afford to pay a loan, my house wouldn't be in the shape that it's in now.
Well, you know.
So all of those, I mean, those are just maybe questions that you'll encounter. But I've had several people come to my office and ask, can the city help me fix my house?
Well, I don't know if the city can or not, but I'm just saying as far as the programs are concerned, that if there's only $10,000 worth of need, then they need to apply for the grant, the $10,000 grant, to see where does that get to. But the first thing you need to do is to really do a capital needs assessment. If they need windows put in, you know, if they need a roof put on, you know, you putting a roof on, it's gonna run you about $10,000.
Well, I'm gonna say, you done jumped to 10 already.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the combination, but that's what I'm saying. Look at it, so if you look at that, I'm just saying the process. The roof, the windows, putting new windows in, health and safety is one of the main things they look at in use of the grant program. So if it's 10,000 on the health side, it's absolutely necessary to put a roof on because the roof is leaking and creating mold in the house. So you have a health situation. And need some plumbing and a hot water heater, okay? That's another $500-600 just for the hot water heater, not including the installation portion behind that. So that's a cost factor. So you got your plumbing category, you got your roofing category, you got the windows category to start to look at. You look at your electrical needs category when you're dealing with the CNA, with the capital needs assessment. So break the categories down, what the cost is going, what the cost will actually run to do that. So when you do that, and then you're dealing with the resources that's available, if it's not in excess of $50,000, then I mean you need to apply for both the 504 under the grant program and under the loan program.
505.
No, 504. It's the 504.
Grant and loan under 504.
Both of those are under the 504 program. But in addition to that, you know, I always suggest if you're really trying to work with individuals from a house, look, and then also see what do they have in the weatherization program. That's normally with your community action agency. The community action agency provide resources and housing for windows and things of that nature. So
What's that number for the weatherization?
now you got me on that. If anybody had, Ms. Stevenson probably know more about that on your local community action agency here. In this area, I don't know what the agency is here.
Rural development, you're gonna, they can tell you. I mean,
I don't know rural development necessarily. This is a state
Oh,
program.
you're talking about the state, okay.
Yeah, it's a state program, but
Area agency.
it
Is it 504 program?
No, this is a
No.
winter.
No, I mean, not
This is a
504,
state.
winterize the state.
They do have it.
Well, it's through the Department of Human Services.
Okay.
You can call them.
Yeah, so what you could call, I would just suggest you call the Department of Human Services or the governor's office. The governor's office also, under their constituents division, can give you the information on the community action agency for your area. So if you really want to look at a plan for the community, then I would suggest that you talk with the community action agency, and you know the maximum amount of money that they can make available to an individual to do weatherization. Again, normally in the weatherization, they're gonna deal with safety and health as well. That you see, they have enough to cover the window costs, and they have enough to cover the hot water, the plumbing portions. So you can get enough out of that out of whether they end up put a roof on. So if you get the roofing and the windows and the other part done through the weatherization program, and then you need to look at how much you can get out of the 504 program. And let's just say it's $15,000 or $20,000 on the weatherization. And then you apply for the grant on the 504, and it's another additional $10,000. You got $30,000 in to look at what your absolute critical, what I say, critical need categories on that house. So I did 30,000 with weatherization and the 504 on possibilities for the grant side. Then you move to look at, when you talk about an affordability plan for that resident, then you look at the loan side. It may only be an additional $10,000 in loan at 1% interest rate to get the house to where it needs to be. A 1% interest rate on $10,000, and you got new windows, new roofing, and plumbing in, you will probably save that amount just on your heating and cooling bill as far as the feasibility itself, as well as the health and well-being of that particular individual in the household. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask, I bought the old accounting firm, and I'm having it transferred, I'm having it, I guess, from business to residential. So I'm in the process of doing that now. But it needs windows and everything, so would I have to wait until it becomes the residential, even though I'm living there, to apply for the 504 grant and loan?
Let me make sure I understand. You purchased what used to be a business as a rural resident, okay? My first question would be is how is it zoned with the city? Is it zoned as residential or zoned?
It's business, but it's in a
It
residential
was a
neighborhood.
business, it was a business in a residential area.
No, I'm just,
Accounting services.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear. Is
I know,
that,
is it zoned?
It's zoned as a business.
so it's zoned as a business enterprise in that whole zone area?
And you could, that could
Well,
be
they're in the
changed to
process of
zone.
it.
No, I understand that. I would start with my city man.
Well, I already talked with Faye Tate. Right now, we're waiting on someone from Little Rock to come in and just change it. So it's, what I'm saying is, we'll have to wait till that take place, go from the business to the resident, or could I go ahead and start the application for the 501, the 504 grant? That's what I'm asking.
Let me say something. One, if it's in process, let me answer that this way. I would be afraid to say, no, go ahead, because when they ask you for the deeds and everything, the property, and they look at, you do have the ownership of the property, and that's been a business enterprise type zoning, they may just say automatically you don't qualify, under that. So I would really make sure that I had that part right. The second part I would say is this: there are also eligibility criteria for the program. You have to be 62 years of age or older or disabled.
I'm 64, so.
Oh, wow.
I'm 64.
Okay.
About ID, huh?
So I ain't gotta worry about that.
Well, no, well, I just thought I'd put it out there because I was gonna say, you don't meet the elder business. So I'm totally wrong.
See, I'm excited to be 64. I'm waiting on my 65th next year.
And see, my whole concern is that I don't mind and I would like to help some of these people to better their living conditions, better their homes, but I don't think they would be accepted to starting a loan. I mean, I saw where you bought this other one in, this window weatherization and the 504.
Right.
The grant, get what I can from window, then go to 504 for that extra 10.
That same thing on
No, I,
504.
let me make sure
502 is
that I am absolutely clear on what I said the first step is. The first step I said is to get a CNA, a capital needs assessment.
Yeah.
I admire the areas out and look at what all the cost is gonna be in those areas where those needs are. Roofing, windows, heating and cooling, things. Get a capital needs assessment from contractors that would do the work. One of the best, most reasonable contractors. Get your capital needs assessment done. First thing, so you know what that dollar figure is. Second step, I said, is look at your grant resource funds, starting with your local agencies, the community action agency, and see what they have and what the maximum amount is under the weatherization program. They do windows and weatherization doors and things of that nature. If all of that falls in your capital needs assessment for that property, then you look at what the maximum amount is, and you know when you make application for community weatherization, what you want to get that money for. You're very specific what you want to get that money for. Then I said the 504 program. If you know you have that out of weatherization, then you go and you apply also for the $10,000 under the 504, and you know where your other gaps are based on that.
And apply that to them.
Based on that, then apply to those other categories and see if there's a void or variance on the capital needs, the actual money, if you don't have any variance on that, and then another source to fill that gap. Then you got your full plan and what you want to do and making sure the applications are developed and submitted to each one of those agencies.
Okay.
But it's a more of a comprehensive approach to doing that, and it's layered resources in order to make it a reality. And that's the best way to do it, to do a full revitalization and looking at communities from a housing standpoint, or just any individual residents if you're trying to really work through that process.
Okay.
I'm gonna shoot stood up, so, cause she said she's not gonna let me be up here before this mic this long as it was this morning. There are also, and, you know, we'll come back, we can do Zoom meetings. If you want to, and you have a number of residents, I don't know if you can do the screen part in here, but I do meetings from our office, and I can do it with individuals and send the links back out to them if it's just on housing.
Well, let me cut that down. Why don't I get back with you all and set up a date? And I will go out into the community and I would bring those people here for you to explain about the housing part to them.
We can do that.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, well, that's acceptable. I don't know if it would, where's the housing? She's not, she don't? Oh, I was gonna talk to the housing, but she just left. But I was gonna say that, but yes, we can work through the process, even just me coming down and going through the process. I mean, I do understand the programs, but along with them being here, You need to get in contact with the Community Action Agency people to make sure they're at the table. I don't know where the Community Action Agency is located in Dumas or where for this county.
I know you gotta go. When you and I get together to elect a date to do that, I will ask you for the agenda that will contain all of these people.
We can create that.
Or you can create that?
We can create that. That's no problem with that.
Okay.
It will be between, as long as Ms. Williams know, either Ms. Irby or it will be Dr. Perkins, to create and work with the agenda process, and everybody agree with that, and I can go from there.
Well, I'll have this place probably back by then. So,
Just contact our office.
do you
Dr.
have a
King.
card?
Yes.
Dr.
I
King,
don't have.
you got a minute there?
But I can give you my number.
I got
Well,
something for you.
write your information.
I got something for you.
Write your information, email.
Dr.
Here you
King,
go. I got it for you.
on behalf the approval award presented to Calvin R. King Senior on regard of your dedication and service, hard work, outstanding leadership in which Arkansas Land and Community Development Cooperative presented by the Dermott, Arkansas community.
Oh, man, this is really,
Thank you for your outstanding work.
look, I really.
I got to have you.
Keep it right there for a minute.
I know, we email for it.
Right there and put that paper down.
Yeah, you should have done that, JT. After he started speaking up there.
Don't start no man. You always trying to teach me something. I'm 74 years old.
Oh, but now-
All right.
Y'all got it?
Yeah, we got you. We got you in 4 different forms.
I appreciate it.
Online, offline, text message.
Ms. Simpson, yes.
I can't believe that.
Well, man,
It's really surprising.
and Judge, you have been coming down here a long
Oh,
time.
yeah, you have.
Well, give me a Kevin. I mean, King. Dr. King,
Why
stand
don't we take a
Bring
picture
it,
of your
bring
office?
it.
Right, get a picture of them right there.
Put the
Judge, doctor, and the mayor. Put them together.
Step up to the table.
Come on,
Give me that.
You really wasn't there when you go there.
Judge, let me get on the other side.
Now get some of the staff.
Just hold on, I'm gonna stand here in the,
Hunter, that's Hunter.
Just take that picture.
All right.
Why didn't you call me and tell me you was here?
Get back, old man.
Go
Go down there.
You done drawing my money. You not there on here?
All right.
all right.
Yes,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be in touch with Ms. Williams.
okay,
Yes.
yeah, and let me give you my card as well.
Yeah, I gotta let you call something leaving out because we started talking, but
Oh, yeah,
we got disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I want to,
Or either